Also, you just stole that. Like, the vendor was not concerned at all that she was running away with the CD and the Walkman, or Discman. Didn't pay for it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back in another episode of Visions of Escaflowne, which I'm also realizing that the banner over here that I've got just says Escaflowne, so I guess that'll work for when we get to the movie. First off, we have a board, and with the board comes the board changelog, which really only has one thing. I added a red line between Alan and one of the Dragon Slayers, because, he puts a sword to his neck and he has him escort to Vulcan's room and beats him up a little bit. Otherwise, everybody else in the show, who were already enemies, are still enemies. No one gets introduced to a new character that they became an enemy of, right? So, no real change. Alright, and into notes then. New episode, new card, the Judgment, a card of rebirth, renewal, and transformation. Just to clarify ahead of time, I know nothing about tarot card readings, just in case it seemed like I did by how I talked about it any other time. Much like a lot of other stuff around here, when I see the character doing something interesting or that I think might be plot important, I look up information about it. In this case, I saw Hitomi doing a tarot reading in episode 1, and I googled what different styles of tarot readings there were based on how she had arranged her cards, so I could guess at what that arrangement of cards could mean. I'm just helping myself to make an educated guess in a space where people who know things could make a guess. That's all. I don't want to be putting myself out there as somebody who knows things that they don't know. Obviously, like in Apothecary Diaries, where I say, oh, she has this little thing on her forehead. This is what that means. No, I don't do that. In Apothecary Diaries, I say, oh, she has this thing on her forehead. I was interested, I looked it up, and here's this mythos about face art on the forehead when it comes to China and about this time period, based on what I've read. I am basically giving you my bibliography and then telling you what it's about. In this case, I know nothing about tarot cards. I am literally reading off of a website. It's funny to consider that Alan thinks the reason that they wouldn't kill Vaughn is due to the fact that he's the only one that knows how to operate the Escaflowne, when in fact, it seems like Fulkin knows how to operate it already. Given how he ejects Vaughn from the cockpit anyway, no one, Vaughn included, thought that Vulcan could have been with the Empire, and that's the reason why Vaughn would still be alive. Vaughn himself thought Vulcan died 10 years ago. Vulcan not destroying the Escaflowne when ordered to is one thing. Not destroying it because you don't know what the threat it's supposed to pose is a completely different thing. We know the Emperor referred to a prognostication engine that has told him that this thing is a threat to the Empire. You understanding why has nothing to do with that. Vulcan better have a plan to double-cross the Emperor and use the Escaflowne for himself at some point, or else none of this is going to make much sense by the end. So Alan hates his dad for everything that's happened. I think I already guessed that he's the king of Asturia. If memory serves, Vulcan mentioned that Asturia and Zybok were allies. With that said, if I had to guess, I'd say that Alan blames Zybok for his mother and his sister, and that his father bent the knee to the Empire, and he doesn't forgive him for that. Again, baseless guesses based on evidence and other guesses I have made. Eventually, sometimes I become so wrong because guesses that are based on other guesses that are based on other guesses just become wrong at the bottom, and all the guesses going up become wrong. I don't know what the wing thing is about. I know I've mentioned angels in the beginning before, but I always thought that those would be something other. Vulcan seems to be a man with wings. I wouldn't have guessed that he really did die. Sorry, I would have guessed that he really did die, except he's got a prosthetic arm. I'd assume that if he got killed and brought back as an angel, he likely didn't get raised with all the damage done to his body. That just doesn't feel right, and at some point the feel of the show has to also make sense. So more likely, I think, is that maybe he's half angel. Like, if people from the Mystic Moon are thought to be demons, then maybe angels are just a race out there, and Fulkin's mom isn't Vaughn's mom. That sounded right in my head, but writing it out, they say brother and not half-brother, so maybe not. It's still the most pressing question in my mind at the moment. What Falcon is, and I guess then vis-a-vis his relation to Vaughn. I think I might be right about my guess that Zybok comes from the future. Falcon talks about setting the future back on course, as though something about the future has changed, rather than making the future or something like that. Like, this could just be like bad transcription. Maybe he doesn't say that in Japanese, but setting the future back on course and creating the future we want would be two different ways to say two different things, right? So the fact he uses the word back on course. Obvious note, Escaflowne requires a specific bloodline to use, as Delandu found out. Someone out there would say he fucked around. And my last note here. We covered before how Hitomi is pretty good athletically, vis-a-vis her 100-meter dash. Now we are covering her long jump, remembering that we compare her against her 1988 counterparts. She is going for a 5 to 6 meter jump, and that her best long jump is 5.4 meters. For comparison, in the 1988 Summer Olympics, the 27th placed female long jumper was Julia Yendork from Ghana, who jumped that same distance. If the gap was indeed 6 meters, and she extended her jump further than her personal best, then she'd be doing as well as Madeline DeJus, I think is how you say it, from Puerto Rico, who ranked only 23rd at the Olympics. As I said, I appreciate that the show doesn't make our characters superheroes. Hitomi is good, really good, but she's not the best in the world either. And that's the realistic line that I enjoy that they keep her at. That she could, if she wanted to, try out for the Olympics. She would not come anywhere close to winning, but she is still an Olympian level. And that is acceptable to me. You know, it's not like they showed us like a computer nerd sitting at the computer. Sitting at a computer. I already prefaced he's a computer nerd. I don't know. They didn't show us a nerd sitting at a computer and then doing a 6 meter long jump, right? They showed us a track athlete doing what a track athlete should be good at. So I appreciate the setup and the payoff. That said, though, those are my notes. I don't really have that much more stuff to go over here, rather than to just hop on in, see if they answer any of the Falcon questions. I think obviously we're not on the Falcon stuff related anymore now. We're going to Asturia, I think. Well, we're in Asturia. We're floating over Asturia. I think we're going to be heading towards the capital. I can't remember the name of the capital. I know the episode's called City of Intrigue. So I assume we're going to find out about Alan's family at the very least. So let's go ahead and hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
can't remember it off the top of my head, but there's something about this opening that is very familiar. I know that when I was watching it before to take my own notes, I identified it off the top of my head. What other anime it reminded me of, the song, but I cannot remember it right now. I don't think it's this part. Here's the problem: is I probably said this in some of the other openings, but I enter these openings knowing that I have to talk about something because I can't show the opening or have the song play for YouTube reasons. But I never come into this prepared with any conversation in mind. Like, I could point out that Phil Fisher in the chat just pointed out that I was still on the chart because the board was still showing for everybody when I was recording this live. At the same time, I know I'm fixing this in post, so you who are watching it on YouTube or on Patreon won't have had that. But that's a talking point, so I can fill time before the show starts.
あれは夢それとも幻アレンさんのおかげで囚われのバーンは無事脱出できたでもあいつが兄上と呼んだあの男の人は
Also, the element that Hitomi is just a mystic now.
パラスへ向かう
Okay, Palas, capital of Astoria. I was right.
アレンさんは私の占いを気にしている私のこと嫌いになっちゃったかな
I didn't see that. I think he's just frustrated that the things that you said were true. And the frustration is about them being true, not that you said them.
隊長どうしたもうすぐパラスに着きますぜ何かいや何でもない瞳もうすぐアストリアの都パラスです
アレンさん私
心配はありませんアストリアは我らの国
Again, though, Astoria is allied to Zybok, so you're literally running from an ally of Astoria into Astoria.
君のような可愛い子は特に狙われやすいからね
That was a bit uncomfortable, I feel.
上陸の用意は任せたぞ了解
アレンさん
But she's in love with him too, apparently. So maybe not as uncomfortable as it seemed.
何してんだ子猫ちゃんもうすぐ着陸するぜ
バーン様見なかった
王様ああガイメレクのところにいたぜおい降下するとき入れるから気をつけろよ
分かってるって
I think she used that opportunity to have him land on her. Because he has a real Luke Vader thing going on. Although, to be fair, he didn't say to overthrow Dorn, Kirk. He just says to join him. Because Vader was very much, let's overthrow the Emperor and take over.
バーン様、海ですよね。あれ、メルル初めてです。
ああ、俺も初めて見る。
I guess implying that they flew in from the north.
海の匂いって
So if they flew in from every other direction, they would have seen the ocean.
突然帰ってくるなんて驚きましたわアレン。
ミラーナ姫。驚かされるのはこちらの方です。
Oh, okay, so his father can't be the king if she's the
ス
princess
トレスで乗馬はできないでしょ。
and a romance interest, which I feel like she
わ
is.
からなかったの？ちゃんと出迎えの支度をさせたのに。
申し訳ありません。急のことでしたので。
あら？あの方は？
ファーネリアの王、バーン・ファーネル様です。
まあ、それでどこかでお会いしたことがあったと思ったの。私が子供の頃、一度ファーネリアに行ったことがありますのよ。ファーネリアは豊かな森がある、とても美しい国だわ。
All burned down. Thanks for reminding me.
その裏庭で兄上様とご一緒だった。そう、とても
Before he got his prison tattoo under his eye. That guy he killed, I guess.
姫、実はお願いがあるのですが。
まあ、私に何でも聞いて差し上げてよ。バーン様。
姫、私は一足先に城へ行きますので。
そうですわね。お父様もアレンにお話があるとおっしゃってましたわ。私の馬を使って。
ありがとうございます。では後ほど。
I guess this is going to be the wrinkle that both guys that she has a crush on have other women in the loop.
お似合いのカップルか。さて、参りましょうか。そこのお方、アレンのお荷物を運んでくださる？あたし？そう、あなた。
こいつは次女じゃない。俺の連れだ。
え？
アレンさんの連れ。
嘘じゃないです。私、あら、ごめんなさい。そんな
I'm pretty sure she did that on purpose.
てっきり。
She's trying to establish her dominance in the situation.
失礼よね。
あんたね。アストリアにはいろんな国の方がお見えになるけど、あなたのような方は見たことありませんわ。ええ、そうでしょうね。幻の月から来た人なんて。しまった。
バカ。
ふん。
I don't know. They've already established there used to be some sort of like transportation between that and the past. The werewolf people.
このアストリア本国とていつ攻め込まれるか分かったものではありません。アストン王、速やかにご決断を。
アレン・シェザール、貴様は我が国に災いをもたらすつもりか。辺境の砦一つのために財バッハの怒りを買うとは、なんたる失態。
我々は財バッハに国を
I'm pretty sure that I read something earlier today that the king of Astoria here is also voiced by the same guy that voices Professor Hamaguchi from Voltaire 5, at least in Japanese.
すでに国王にまで財バッハの手が回っていたとは。
アストン王、ファーネリアこそが我が帝国に奇襲を仕掛けてきたのです。
そのような話、聞いてはおりません。
事実です。ですがもしファーネリア王とそのガイメレフ、エスカフローネを引き渡していただけるのなら、今回の不始末は水に流しましょう。
I don't think Delandu would. Giant scar on his face. That dude's not letting anything go.
これで一件落着ですな。アレン・シェザール、真に国を思うのならば速やかに差し出すことだ。義だけでは国は守れんのだよ、アレン・シェザール。
Well, time to go from lawful good to chaotic good. I guess neutral good you could still be.
お蒸しお流しします。はい。久しぶりのお風呂は嬉しいけど、全然落ち着かないわ。あら。これはよく似合ってよ。
ジジュにも衣装ね。
Well,
喧嘩売ってる。
I guess this is what assimilating is all about.
でも本当にいいんですか？こんな綺麗なドレス。あまり変な格好でうろうろされたとあっては、アレン様の品位が疑われますからね。なんかいちいち引っかかるのよね。
She is. I said she is.
私の服？そうよ。処分しちゃっていいんでしょ？ダメです。どうして？新しい服ならいくらでも差し上げてよ。この服には私の思い出が詰まってるんです。ミラーナさんのお気持ちは嬉しいんですけど、でもこれだけは。
I mean, conceivably, for the time being,
あなたにはいろいろと訳がありそう。
everything she has from Earth is the only thing she will ever have from Earth. So losing any of it is losing that connection.
ミラーナ様、アレン様からこれが。何？バザーへは先に行ってくださいって。
Imagine having your letters delivered on a platter.
殿方とのお約束は。待っていても退屈だし。行きましょう、皆さん。はい。
ひとみ、
何よ。
持っていけ。これからは何があるかわからない。
うん。
Keep everything on you. Never know when you need to make a break for it.
これなら目立つこともないだろうぜ。降りてこい。飯にするぞ。
嘘。お先にいただけますね。
おめえら、俺たちの分まで食ってんじゃねえだろうな。
なんだよ。
What do you call the guards at the Vatican?
何しやがる。おい、てめえら。
That's what these guys remind me of. Swiss guard, the Swiss guard.
これがファーネリアのガイメレフ、エスカフローネか。アストン王の命により、このガイメレフは渡してもらう。抵抗する者は容赦せん。なんだと？
どうなってんで。嘘。
貴様。
I'm surprised that they don't think that these guys would listen to them by default and had to pull swords on them, considering that they are under the command of Alad, which is the knight of the kingdom.
どう？なかなか賑やかでしょ？本当。
失礼、お嬢さん。
幻の月から来た割には簡単に驚くのね。
だって。
何やってんだ。置いてくぞ。
You'd only figure that she wouldn't be surprised because she comes from a place that has media. She's seen animated animal people before on TV.
どうだいお嬢ちゃん。気に入ったら買っとくれ。
嘘。なんでこんなものが？
綺麗だろう。お嬢ちゃんにぴったんかだ。首飾りにしてあげる
No,
よ。
it plays music.
私以外にもこっちの世界へ来た人がいるってこと？
I don't know why I was listening like I would know what the song was that was playing.
浜野先輩。ひとみ？どうしたの？ぼーっとして。バンはどこ？
彼ならなんだか慌てて港の方へ行きましたわよ。ちょっとあんたどうしたのよ。
Also, you just stole that.
娘たち
Like, the vendor was not concerned at all that she was running away with the CD and the Walkman, or Discman. Didn't pay for it. I assume the vision was that Vaughn's going to get struck by lightning, and not that he's going to get teleported somewhere again.
サイバーの浮遊要塞。
オルケン様、お迎えに上がりました。
兄上。
ああ、私と共に来る覚悟はできたか。
傷がうずく。
Yeah, of course. I feel like Delandu is going to become a worse version of Yazik from Gundam Seed.
傷口をお触りにならない方が。何？お前に僕の心の痛みがわかるのかい？申し訳ありません。美しい僕の顔に。
It wasn't that great, my dude.
フォルケン様が。
See, I prefer Fulkin's attitude, but I do enjoy the insanity of Delandu.
あの日、竜にこの腕を食いちぎられた日、私は死んだ。そして再び私に命を与えてくださったのがドルンカ
So
ーツ。
Darnkirk made you an angel?
ねえどうしたのよ。また見えたの。嫌なビジョン。やめてよ。あんたが言うとシャレにならないんだから。すいません。港はどっち？
港なら向こうだぜ。
ありがとう。
お待ちください。ディランド様。停泊中は禁足とフォルケン様のご命令です。ビワンから出なければいいんだろう。
Isn't that typically whip damage?
バーンよ。
Okay, fair
お
enough.
前は私の弟。血を分かち合った友。お前の心がこの兄には見える。優しきお前にこの世は辛かろう。人と人、いや、すべての命ある者たちがその命を奪い合うこの世。獣を殺し、竜を殺し、人をも殺す。戦いが戦いを呼び殺戮を繰り返す。それがこの世の定め。
その戦いの源がザイバッハじゃないか。
我らの戦いはその
I mean, that's interesting to know. Unless he's just talking about what happened to Fenelia.
これこそ真の聖戦。
戦いを終わらすための戦いなんてそんなものあるはずがない。
I wonder how many anime have that theme. That seems like such a common theme in shows I'm watching these days.
兄上。
嫌な気分。まずいよ。急がなきゃ。
ディランド様。エナジスの力を最大にしてクリーマの爪を打ち出すつもりなのか。バイバイバーン。
Figured that was gonna happen. And Trackstar. Okay, so these things can have like infinite range on their claws. So I was completely wrong about the lightning thing altogether.
ディランド様、お怪我はありませんでしたか？
Okay, so not infinite range for no cost, at least. But it does imply that this is something he could do again with another Gaim Elf.
瞳、俺を助けてくれたのか？
よかった間に合って。
ディランというか余計なこと。
兄上、これ
Gotta be more specific of those orders, my bro.
これは私の真意ではない。
そんな言い訳を。
バーンのお兄さん、あの時の人。
大丈夫だったんですね。メルル心配したんですよ。こいつが変なこと言うから。
ファーネリア王、バーン・ファーネル様ですね。アストン王がお呼びです。
何がお呼びだよ。無礼だぞ。
I mean, I assume you're under arrest because you're an enemy of Zybok. And again, as mentioned before, Astoria is bent the knee. Cool, it is Rome. That's literally the Colosseum. That is the Swiss Guard.
あなたの自由と権利はこのアストンが保証しよう。ただし友情の証として、ぜひとも貴君のガイメレフ、エスカフローネの力とあなたの腕前をご披露していただきたい。
そんなに心配なさらないで。あれ、お父様もきっと考えあってのことですわ。あ、
あれはサジマのガイメレフ。奴は騎士などではない。戦いを金に換える賞金稼ぎだ。
Saijama, that sounds like a familiar name.
何この胸騒ぎ、嫌な気分。
噂にたがわぬ麗しきメレフ。イスパーノ製のガイ
I
メ
think
レ
it's
フ
familiar from this show. I feel like I might have just written that name out in a different show recently.
見るだけで満足かな、メイデン。
商人としての私の血が騒ぎますな。しかしメレフの進化は戦をしてみねばわからん。あんなならず者相手では不満ですな。アレンを相手にすれば。
アレンはまたの機会でよい。まあ、私のやり方を。
Also, I'm pretty sure Alan wouldn't do it. Oh no, that was lightning.
まだ悪い予感は終わっていなかった。あの時の不吉なビジョンはこのこと。
I'm going to assume the flying fortress is going to come across the sky at some point and just shoot lightning down at him. Yeah, I figured the episode had gone on too long. I don't know. It's not great, but I have to think that the Escaflowne has to be good enough to take on just 3 different Melifs. Because otherwise, I don't know. We might still be in the learning stage of Vaughn's storyline, right? Like when Alan beat him, and we were supposed to be surprised rather that he had laid like 1 strike on Alan. That maybe the bounty hunters here or mercenaries are supposed to be like a step below Alan, so that Vaughn can show that he is good at this. Because otherwise, he hasn't been that great at fighting. Like, he could take out a dragon, sure, but I guess that implies that Alan could take out a dragon too. Because Alan could surely take out Vaughn.
Escaflowne.
あなたのためなら全てを捨てます。お父様、この国。
お前が がいるから街が燃えちゃうんだ。
Okay, I'm seeing betrayal. I am seeing... Well, I guess I'm seeing betrayal a lot, because, I was going to say, Delandu is clearly betraying any trust that Fulkin would have had in him, although I would assume that Fulkin would be smart enough not to trust Delandu, because Delandu just seems too insane and bloodlusty to... anything I could think of to say. Delandu was too much for. It seems like the princess is going to betray Alan, but not like in the sense that she wants to betray him, like in the sense that she's obsessed. She's obsessed with him and is going to do what she can to take away the source of any contrivance or opposite affection. She's basically like a Merle that doesn't have a Merle with resources to make Hitomi go away. It's what I feel like is going on there. And otherwise, I guess Asturia's not going to be allied with Zybok anymore, because it looks like Zybok is just going to take Astoria out. And it does really feel like the nations on Gaia are individual cities, because we had an outpost for Astoria, but an outpost isn't like a township or a city. It feels like this is just a port city that exists off of trade, and that's it. Like, they had nothing else. So I guess countries that are city-states instead of united townships or the like. That said, though, not really a lot to go off of here, other than the fact that Hitomi is working off her visions again. Delandu is just going fucking crazy. Great that that's the guy I am, looking to hear the art. Fulkin hasn't really introduced more of his backstory than we could have already intuited. So, yeah. I guess it's just more of the world. That's all we really got, is more of the world and the idea that other people have come here. Because otherwise, how did that CD find its way here? I was anticipating to find out that Merle had stolen it, or somebody else gone through her things, and that's how it got here, but she wasn't like, hey, wait, this is my CD. It's also probably the final thought here. Final, funny little thought from me. You imagine how scratched up CDs get in the modern environment where we have stuff to protect them and clean them with and everything? This CD is literally sitting on a vendor in like a fantasy world. And it's still not even scratched up enough. It can still play. And the wherewithal of the vendor, not knowing that it's a CD, to put it face up so it's not getting scratched up on his table. Just funny little considerations on the micro detail on this one little aspect of the episode. Alright. Well, as I said, that was my final thought here at the very end of this episode. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?